Raffaele was breathing in the second bed, but the window showed it made and empty. I stepped into the room. His reflection came back a fraction late. He opened his eyes and said, "You saw it." I told him no. That lie lasted until 3:18, when the glass stopped erasing him and changed what my own hand was doing. Remember the vinyl chair by the wall? The window did. At 3:18 in the morning, I held a psychiatric patient's wrist. In the dining room window, my hand was closed around nothing. Not his arm, not his sleeve, not even the shadow of his shoulder where it should have been. 2 fingers on his pulse, slow, regular, skin warm under mine. My arm was up, reaching toward him. Behind him, the black glass reflected my face, the white strip lights, the security grates, and the empty vinyl chair by the wall. In the glass, my arm hung low at my side, fingers bent around that chair's armrest, like I'd never reached for him. That is the part I still check for. Not faces, not ghosts. Empty places where a living person should be. His name was Raffaele. He was 56, broad through the shoulders, with careful hands and the posture of a man who had spent too many years sitting straight because passengers were watching. He had driven city buses most of his life, not tour buses, the ordinary kind. Old men arguing near the front, mothers folding strollers with one hand, someone always pressing the stop button too late. Raffaele remembered routes by their bad parts. The tight turn by the fruit market, the hill where the engine coughed in August, the stop where rain collected in a crack and splashed the first 3 passengers if he pulled in too close. He came to us that afternoon on a 7-day involuntary treatment order after 3 days of standing near the bus depot without boarding any bus. He had not been violent. He had not threatened anyone. That was not why he came to us. He had refused assessment, refused to go home, refused water from the police, and could no longer give an address that led anywhere real. When Stefano, the on-call psychiatrist, asked why he would not go home, Raffaele said, "I missed my stop." He did not make it sound important. He sounded tired, cracked lips, beard coming in white around his chin, eyes open too wide for a man who had spent 3 days outside. During handover, the evening nurse told us he had refused any seat facing the dining room windows. "He said glass makes mistakes," she said. Ferruccio was filling the coffee machine like it had personally offended him. "Glass makes mistakes when people clean it with the table rag," he said. At dinner, Cosimo brought the cart 5 minutes late and apologized like he'd delayed surgery. Raffaele looked at the cart, then at Cosimo's shoes. "You came from the elevator side," he said. "The left wheel is wet." He was right. Nobody made much of it. In a locked ward, you do not spend surprise on a wet wheel. Across from him, Arturo kept losing peas off his fork, mouth tightening every time one rolled away. Raffaele watched it happen 3 times, then pushed half his own peas onto Arturo's tray with his spoon. "Yours are escaping," he said. Arturo stared at him. Then he ate them. At 9:40 in the evening, we moved through the evening routine. Medication cart locked, trash out, laundry bag tied. Sharps counted back into the box before the safe closed, twice, because a locked ward still keeps a specific fear about anything with an edge. That was when I first gave Raffaele his night medication. He took the cup from me before I had to ask twice. "Do you always win?" he asked. "No." "Good," he said. "Then you're still useful." Mouth check clean, tongue up, tongue down, no tablet tucked in the cheek, no drama. Raffaele asked to walk before bed, not pacing, measuring. He did not look at handles or exits. He looked at reflections. The black television screen, the metal side of the medication cart, the dark station glass. Whenever his shape touched a surface, he shifted slightly away. At 10:42, the corridor light by room 6 held steady until Raffaele passed. He slept in room 2, bed B. Before lying down, he asked for the bedside chair. "Do you need anything?" I asked. "A wall." "You have 4. "No," he said. "For my back."
I moved the chair so he could sit with his back to the wall for a few minutes. Julia passed with clean sheets stacked under her chin. "He all right?" "He wants the wall." She nodded like that made sense to her. At 11:35, Raffaele was in bed. At midnight, he was awake. At 12:40, he asked for the bathroom and went without issue. At 1:05, I found him standing in the dining room. Not hiding, not trying anything. Standing. The lights were off except for corridor spill and the small safety light above the serving hatch. At night, the dining room windows turn into black mirrors. You do not see outside. You see the ward twice, once in front of you and once flattened into glass. He was facing them. That was the first real problem, because he had avoided those windows all evening. "Raffaele."
He did not turn. I stayed at the entrance, 1 foot inside, 1 foot out. Never fill the doorway if you do not have to. Never make yourself the wall. "Couldn't sleep?" "Mirror first," he said. His voice was low and practical. "Always mirror first." I looked at the glass. It showed the tables, the stacked chairs, the one vinyl chair left by the wall for anyone too unsteady to stand through a meal, the grates, my shape in the entrance, and Raffaele standing in the room. Almost. The chair behind him was clear. The table edge was clear. His slippers were clear. But the upper half of him was thin in the reflection, like the glass had smeared him. I stepped 2 feet left. The reflection corrected. There he was. A man in hospital pajamas, one hand half raised, pale and annoyed. Bad angle, black glass, strip lights, tired eyes. After 1 in the morning, your brain starts helping without being asked. "Back to bed," I said. He came without resistance. At the doorway, he stopped close enough for me to smell ward soap on him. "I counted 43 on board," he said. "The mirror gave me 42. That was a long time ago." "No," he said. "That was the problem." He returned to bed. I wrote nothing dramatic. Restless, found standing in dining area, redirected to room without incident. It was true. It also missed the point, but notes do that. They keep the part you can defend. At 1:30, Julia made coffee in the staff kitchen and burned it badly enough that Ferruccio would have taken it personally. She brought me half a cup anyway. "You look like you're doing math with bad news," she said. I saw a reflection wrong. "That's called being over 30. "What kind of wrong?" she asked. I told her. She listened without smiling. That is why I like Julia. She does not believe everything. She just knows when not to laugh. "Black window?" "Yes." "Dining room?" "Yes." "Those windows are filthy." "I know." "And you're tired." "I know that too." She tasted my coffee, made a face, and handed it back. "Then maybe don't make a religion out of dirty glass." Fair. Good advice. I followed it for 22 minutes. At 1:52, I did the corridor round. Room 1, asleep. Room 2, Arturo asleep in bed A, Raffaele awake in bed B. Room 3, one patient sitting up, redirected. Room 4, bathroom occupied, fine. Room 5, both sleeping. Room 6, light under the door, patient reading, allowed for another 10 minutes because some battles are stupid. I came back to room 2. Raffaele was lying on his left side, facing the wall. The blanket rose and fell over his shoulder. On the inside of the room window, the night made the glass a dull mirror. It reflected Arturo's bed. It reflected the chair. It reflected the pale square of Raffaele's pillow. It did not reflect Raffaele. I stopped with my hand on the frame. Directly in front of me, he was there, breathing, blanket moving. In the glass, bed B was made. Smooth blanket from pillow to foot, pulled straight as if Nuncia herself had done it and dared anyone to wrinkle it. I looked back at the bed. Wrinkled blanket, shoulder,
one bare heel out at the edge. Window, smooth blanket. I stepped into the room. The reflection changed. Raffaele appeared in it, late, a fraction after he should have, like someone had remembered him. His eyes opened. "You saw it," he said. "No." He almost smiled. "You're good." I checked his pulse because my hands needed ordinary work. Strong, regular, skin warm. Any chest pain? No. Dizziness? No. Do you know where you are? The ward? Do you know the time? Too late to ask useful questions. Fair. I called Stefano. He answered on the 6th ring with the voice of a man who had been asleep 5 seconds before. Is he aggressive? No. Threatening anyone? No. Trying doors? No. No fever, no confusion, no new neurological signs? No. Then we do not treat windows at 2 in the morning. I'm not asking you to treat windows. You are asking me to treat a sentence. I hated that because he was right. Keep him away from reflective surfaces if that calms him, Stefano said. Increase observation, call if behavior changes. Reasonable, which in that moment made it worse. At 2:26, Raffaele was asleep. At 2:48, he was standing beside his bed with one slipper on. Giulia saw him before I did. He was not shouting. That would have been easier. Noise gives you permission to act. He spoke softly, as if to a full bus. Rear doors stay closed until I see both feet. Raffaele, I said. He looked past me into the corridor. Nobody stands by the doors while the bus is moving.
I stepped aside rather than block him. He walked slowly, one slipper on, one slipper off, toward the dining room. Not toward the ward door, not toward the exit, toward the black windows. Irene came from the medication room with a pack of gloves in her hand and stopped in front of him. Raffaele straightened a little. "Ma'am," he said very politely, "I can't let you board without a ticket. No exceptions." Irene did not smile. "You're right to check," she said. "But I'm not boarding. I'm staying here with you." He looked at the floor in front of her shoes. "Not by the doors." Irene moved back one step. "Then I'll stay where you can see me." He nodded. "Safe," he said. "For now." She did not argue with the bus. She did not climb onto it either. Giulia moved ahead of us and turned on the dining room lights before he reached it. Bright room, clear floor, no other patients. Ward door behind us. 3 staff present, 1 distressed patient. No hands on him yet. It was as safe as that scene was going to get. Raffaele stopped in front of the windows. "Mirror first," he said. Then his breathing changed. Not panic, work, like he was taking a tight turn. "I counted 43 on board," he said. "The mirror gave me 42. "You're in the ward," I said. "You're safe." He lifted his right hand toward the glass. I caught his wrist before he touched it, not hard, just enough. "Do not hit the window." His hand trembled once under mine. In the glass, the tables, grates, and lights were clear. His pajama legs were there. His one slipper was there. His bare foot was there. His raised wrist was not. Neither was the arm attached to it. The space above his legs belonged to nobody. Giulia was watching his free hand. Irene was watching the corridor. I was the only idiot looking at the glass. "Can you get him away from the glass?" Stefano asked when I called again. His voice had changed, less sleep in it. "We're trying." Raffaele's wrist tightened under my fingers. Not a punch, not a grab, just that steady pull toward the window, like his hand had somewhere else to be. Stefano heard me stop talking. "Offer 1 milligram by mouth first," he said. "If he refuses and keeps pulling toward it, 2 milligrams of lorazepam in the muscle, single dose, then close observation. Haloperidol?"
Not unless we have to, Stefano said. I'd rather not give it without a recent electrocardiogram, without seeing his heart rhythm first. Start with lorazepam. I ended the call and pushed the phone into my scrub pocket. I offered the tablet with water. Raffaele looked at the cup like I had handed him a ticket for the wrong route. That stop closed in '98, he said. Then he tried to pull his wrist free toward the glass. No violence, no swing, no threat to us, but enough force to risk splitting his hand open on the window, and enough confusion that words were no longer steering him. I did not like where that left us. Nobody does, if they are honest. But his hand was still moving toward the glass. I passed the cup to Julia and let her take his wrist. Both hands or none of this works. Julia and I guided him 2 steps back from the glass before I touched the syringe. Not a restraint, just distance between his hand and the window. The injectable ampule was 4 milligrams in 1 milliliter. Stefano had ordered 2 milligrams, half a milliliter. That is the kind of detail you check twice. It was a little after 3 when I gave the lorazepam in the muscle. Julia held his arm steady against her side. Irene kept the other patients back without making a show of it. I kept my voice low because there was nothing else useful to raise. The injection did not work right away. Lorazepam does not do that in the muscle, not like people imagine from movies. What helped first was distance. 2 steps from the glass, Julia beside him, Irene's voice behind him. His voice dropped before the medication could have done much. Maybe he was tired. Maybe the procedure itself had changed the shape of the moment. Maybe he had run out of road for a few seconds. The drug would come later, slowly enough that I kept checking whether I was giving it credit for work the room had done. At 3:18, he was still awake, no longer pulling toward the glass, still there under my hand. 2 fingers on the wrist, warm skin, slow, regular. My arm was up, reaching toward him. In the window, my hand held nothing. My fingers were bent around the empty armrest of the vinyl chair behind him, not reaching, not up, hanging at my side like I had never held him at all.
My fingers had already started to loosen. I hadn't decided that yet. For 1 second, I could not make the 2 things fit. The pulse under my hand and the empty glass in front of me. And Raffaele swayed and I caught him again. He looked at me in the glass, not directly. "You don't open for a hand," he said. "You open for a face." "What face?" He shook his head, small, polite. "If the window drops you," he said, "you stay dropped." I turned him away from the glass. "Station," I said. "The room." "No." He looked at me properly. "You can be angry tomorrow." He nodded. We brought him to the chair beside the nurse's station, not inside the booth, close enough to watch without making him look like evidence. Julia covered him with a spare blanket. Irene found the missing slipper in the corridor and set it under the chair. After that, the night became numbers. Blood pressure, pulse, breathing, oxygen, level of consciousness. Every 15 minutes at first, because the medication was not the only thing to watch. At 4:20, Raffaele slept. The station glass reflected the corridor, the medication cart, my shoulders, Julia's bent head, and the chair beside the station. It reflected him too, badly, too narrow, pressed thin. A person seen from the wrong end of a hallway. I did not tell Julia. Raffaele stayed with us until the hold was lifted. He improved in the boring ways that matter. He never sat facing a window again. On the morning he left, he shook my hand. His grip was dry and firm. "From no trick," he said. "What trick?" "If someone misses the stop, you don't reverse the bus." "No? You stop at the next safe place." Then he let go. That line should have comforted me. It almost did. 2 nights later, I worked again. Room 2 was empty for cleaning. Bed B stripped, mattress wiped.
Window dark because the room lights were off and the corridor was bright behind me. I passed during the 2 in the morning round and stopped. Not because I heard anything, not because the door moved. I stopped because the window was reflecting the empty bed. And in the reflection only, the blanket was folded around the shape of a sleeping man. The bed was empty. The glass kept him. 2 nights later, the second bed had been stripped, wiped, and left empty. Only the window showed a blanket folded around the shape of a sleeping man. When a place is supposed to be empty, but your eyes keep returning to one spot, write what you would check first: the room, the object, or only the name. Before you leave this corridor, look once at the bed and once at the glass. Subscribe, then take the next night round with me. The mattress was bare. The window was not.